It was all a lie, Princess Anne declares, shattering decades of royal tradition and unmasking the truth about Queen Camilla's rise to power, a truth that Queen Elizabeth never wanted her to be queen consort. For years, the world watched as Camilla ascended to queen consort, seemingly with the full blessing of Queen Elizabeth II. But now, Princess Anne steps forward with a revelation that could shake the very foundation of the monarchy. Behind the polished smiles and royal ceremonies lies a secret. Queen Elizabeth never truly approved of Camilla. According to Anne, the Queen was cornered by pressure from King Charles and his closest advisors, to accept a decision she never truly wanted. How deep does this manipulation run? And why did Queen Elizabeth remain silent? Today, we unravel the hidden power plays and the true story of Queen Camilla's controversial rise. This is the secret the palace never wanted you to know. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. The air was heavy inside the grand halls of Buckingham Palace. The walls, steeped in centuries of tradition and royal legacy, seemed to absorb every whisper, every guarded confession, every secret. Princess Anne stood by the tall windows overlooking the sprawling gardens, her gaze steady, her mind racing with memories that had been buried for far too long. In the twilight glow, as the silhouettes of palace guards paced the cobblestone paths, she knew that the time had come to speak out. For years, she had been the stoic figure in the background, a woman of duty, unyielding in her loyalty to the crown and her mother's legacy. But recent events had stirred something deep within her, something that she could no longer suppress. As the public adoration of Queen Camilla grew, Anne felt a pang of guilt that pierced through her unwavering facade. It wasn't the public's fault. They had been led to believe a version of history crafted by the very institution that now felt like a web of deceit. Anne's decision to finally reveal the truth wasn't spontaneous. It had been building within her, driven by the conviction that her mother's wishes had been grossly misrepresented. The public had a right to know the truth about Queen Elizabeth II's private thoughts on Camilla, about the relentless pressure from royal advisors, and about the heartbreaking compromises made for the sake of maintaining the monarchy's public image. Anne took a deep breath, summoning the resolve that had carried her through decades of royal duty, and whispered to herself, it was all a lie. The doors to the sitting room creaked open, and a trusted aide stepped in, his expression apprehensive. "Your Royal Highness, they are ready for you," he said cautiously, aware of the magnitude of what was about to transpire. Anne nodded, straightening her back as she turned to face the path ahead. It wasn't just her story she was about to tell. It was the story of her mother's unspoken struggle, of a family torn between personal desires and public duty. As she made her way to the press conference, the gravity of her words loomed over her, and knew that once spoken, they could never be taken back. The truth would ripple through the palace walls, the public sphere, and the very fabric of the monarchy. She wasn't just challenging a single narrative, she was challenging an entire legacy built on carefully constructed lies. And approached the podium, her hands steady despite the turmoil within. The room was filled with journalists, their cameras poised, their notebooks ready. The murmur of hushed speculation filled the air. Why had Princess Anne, typically silent on such matters, suddenly chosen to address the nation? And glanced at the prepared statement on the lectern but decided against it. What she had to say couldn't be bound by rehearsed words or cautious phrasing. She cleared her throat, her voice steady but weighted with the truth she was about to reveal. "Today, I speak not as a princess but as a daughter," and began, her voice unwavering. "For years, I have maintained my silence out of respect for my family and the monarchy. However, recent events have compelled me to share something that has remained hidden for far too long. My mother, Queen Elizabeth II, never approved of Camilla becoming queen consort. It was not her wish. It was a decision forced upon her, by pressures that no one outside these walls could fully comprehend." The room fell silent, journalists frozen in anticipation, eyes wide with shock. And continued, recounting private moments with her mother, moments where the Queen confided her apprehension, her deep-rooted hesitation, and her quiet heartbreak over the situation. And recalled how her mother, despite her stoicism, often wrestled with the knowledge that public acceptance did not equate to personal approval. She never wanted Camilla to bear the title of queen consort, and asserted, her voice firm yet reflective. But the pressures from advisors, the expectations of modernizing the monarchy, and the unwavering insistence of my brother forced her hand. My mother was a symbol of strength and resilience, but even she could not withstand the relentless push to conform to a narrative crafted to ease public discontent. and paused,